Hurricane Zeta is inching closer to the coast of the U.S. Conditions along the southeast Louisiana Gulf Coast are beginning to deteriorate. Zeta is expected to make landfall this afternoon. And some good news is that cold front that's moving into southeast Texas is keeping that storm away from us. Right now, this is a live look outside of the LaBerge Center. Clouds in the sky. I'm loving it because I know what's behind it.
Some cold air, yeah. It's already starting to work into parts of western Jefferson County, Hardin County, Tyler County, starting to see temperatures drop right now. But let's take a look real quick at Zeta. Good thing is, with that front coming in, it's really causing some wind shear. And this storm is not as strong as they thought it might get. They were thinking that winds could be 100 miles per hour as it moves into parts of southeast Louisiana this afternoon. And right now, you can see that wind shear on the west side. It's really not letting it strengthen, so they're expecting it to be just a Category 1. Right now, winds are at about 90. They don't think it's going to get much stronger than that, and then move into southeast Louisiana as we head into late this afternoon into this evening as a Category 1 storm. And you notice that track takes it pretty much right over the top of New Orleans as we head towards this evening, so they're going to be under the gun. For us, we'll see those temperatures dropping, and the rain eventually will be moving out later on tonight. Get ready for some cool conditions as we go through the next few days. We'll check out your 7-day forecast in just a little bit.
Now to our election coverage. We're now less than a week until Election Day, and new numbers have President Donald Trump and Joe Biden neck and neck in Texas. The toss-up now is, will Texas turn blue? The Lone Star State has not voted for a Democrat presidential candidate since 1976. One Lamar University political science professor says the odds of turning the state blue are around 20%, and it's because of where people live.
Part of why Republicans maintain a statewide majority is they do pretty well in suburban counties and they really dominate rural Texas.
Nelson says there are some key counties Joe Biden must win if he wants to clinch Texas. Those include big ones like Travis and Harris counties, but also places like Jefferson County. This next story shows the dedication of one Texas voter. 74-year-old Janelle Crenshaw passed out while in line to vote. When she woke up, the polls were closed and an ambulance had been called. But Crenshaw wasn't leaving until her vote was cast, so poll workers brought out a voting machine and she voted from the back of the ambulance.
The greatest, the most important duty of every American citizen in this great country is to vote.
Crenshaw went to get checked out by the doctors and says she feels fine. This was her second attempt at voting. She says the lines have been incredibly long. And it's no secret this election cycle has been intense on both sides. There are fears and rumors of widespread voter fraud and intimidation at the polls. But as Tom Costello reports, now there are officials teaming out across the country to make sure that voters and the ballots are kept safe and secure.
Good day. We're in Gaithersburg, Maryland here. Voting started at 7 a.m. The line was wrapped around the building, and then they quickly dealt with those people in the initial surge. No problems here. Very peaceful. No intimidation whatsoever. But in some states, we are seeing loud, boisterous crowds outside of polling places, honking and yelling and screaming and waving flags. In some cases, coming with guns. Is that voter intimidation? And what's the fine line between just yelling and engaging in free speech and voter intimidation if you have a weapon? In open carry states where weapons are legal, is a voter intimidation. Can you walk into a polling place with a gun? In Michigan, they tried to say that that can't happen. You can't walk in with a gun. A judge struck that down. It's an open carry state. Across the country, DAs and police chiefs say that they are walking a fine line here, but they are absolutely determined not to allow voter intimidation in this critical election as we're now down to the final week before Election Day. I'm Tom Costello in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Back to you.
If you are planning to vote but are worried about COVID-19, the CDC is laying out some new safety measures. The agency says that you should have a plan with how you can get to polling locations safely. Make sure you have your mask on, wash your hands or use hand sanitizer before entering and leaving the location. Voters are also advised to bring your own supplies such as a black pen and registration form. And finally, if there is a line, make sure you're at least 6 feet away from other people. 12 News is your election headquarters. Head to our website or our app right now and we'll help you plan your vote, including what's on your ballot where you live, or text the word VOTE to 409-838-1212.
Jasper County 911, what's your emergency?
We have a person that's walking around trying to get into the building that we don't know who they are.
Okay, I'll get someone en route.
That call from Buna Elementary School ended up being a false alarm, but it had sheriff's deputies rushing down Highway 96 to get to the school to see what was going on. It was supposed to be just a drill, but only 3 people knew about it. According to Buna ISD Superintendent Dr. Donnie Lee, the Chief of Security, Mark McKinley, instructed one of his resource officers to show up at the school unannounced for a safety drill. Dr. Lee says for past drills, multiple people were in the loop, including the Jasper County Sheriff's Office and at least one school administrator.
Yes, we've done these drills before, but with one critical piece included, and that's the communication piece. Do apologize that there was a breakdown into communication and that undue stress and anxiety were caused to parents, to teachers, and to staff members.
Late Tuesday afternoon, the resource officer involved shared his side of the story on Facebook. In the post, he says, quote, "This was a planned event. I was notified by a school administrator last week that it would be taking place sometime this week." Dr. Lee says there is some truth to the long Facebook post, but didn't go into detail. While he can't go into detail regarding whether or not disciplinary measures will be taken, Dr. Lee says the matter will be addressed quickly. In Lumberton, police are trying to identify this man. Investigators say he's a person of interest in a few car burglaries and was caught in this home surveillance video, as you see. If you recognize him, call the Lumberton Police Department at 409-755-3400.